Alright, so this patch is for a piece called She Hears Each His Lies. Piece is up on Bandcamp. You can check out the link in the description for this video. Let me just put a quick plug for my newsletter, which you can also click a link in the description here that will take you to the subscription page. It should only take a second, and then just about every week you'll get a newsletter that has interesting articles and links to new material. So go ahead and sign up for that for that newsletter, Zenglock the newsletter. So this piece, again, focused on the Morphagene, which I used last week in a piece called Primary Long. In that patch breakdown, you saw that's a very long piece. Primary Long lasts over 90 minutes, and part of the process to generate that sound is using the Morphagene to record the output of the DPO during the piece and create new splices, which are then manipulated and mixed in as the piece evolves. Right, so the material is generated through the performance of the piece. But now I have a reel in the Morphagene that's filled with all of these cool sounds, and I'm using them in this piece. She Hears Each His Lies. Now, this piece is different in a couple of ways, even if the base material is the same, but you'll hear the output is very different. First, it's not 90 minutes, it's 12 minutes. And let me just play a short section of it now so you can hear what it sounds like, and then I'll talk through some of the patching. Okay, so that's kind of cool. One of the things I like as a composer, one of the things I like to do, just sort of in a very generic, almost like my compositional DNA, is I like to find textures that I like and then oscillate between them in kind of unpredictable ways. Right, so a bit of this, bit of that, bit of this, bit of that, this, that, this, that. Right. So one way of looking at this patch is creating the two textures and then creating the mechanics by which the oscillation between them takes place over time. And that will boil down to two main sections. If you look at the patches here, I've got the Morphagene, the Echophon, and the Moddemix, all from Make Noise, that between the three of them create the sounds. And then I use the Wogglebug, the Tempi, and the Maths as the beat, or as the pulse that drives the shift between the textures. So let me start at the end of the patch, which is the Echophon. Now, the Echophon is great. It has the delay and the clock and everything, but it also has the pitch, right? So the Echophon really provides a second voice. If I bring it up, I'm just going to turn the dials a little bit and show you what the Echophon is doing in the patch. So that's totally dry, and that's totally wet. So the Echophon provides a harmony, as well as adding in the texture, right? Because the sound itself is that staticky, drony sound. It's not like a sharp pulse that then you can hear the echo and the pitch. Boom, 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 boom. You're not going to hear that. You're going to hear more like, right? And generate this harmonic drone. Now, if I take it out of the patch, so I'm just going to put it all dry. So that's coming from the Moddemix, which in turn is taking the output of the Morphagene and then sine wave from the DPO. So again, if I just bring that up and I'm going to mess around with the pitch of the sine wave and the mix on the mod, but I'm not changing anything on the Morphagene on this yet. That's kind of cool. Actually, that's really cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, that last bit, that's pretty cool. It sounds kind of like a really strained biology sound. But look, okay, so I don't want to hear that, right? Now I just want to hear the straight output of the Morphagene. So I'm going to change that patch altogether. No, actually, this is probably the best way to do that. Okay, so a couple things are going on in here. First, I'm organizing the splice that's being played, which is something I did in the primary long, but at a much slower scale. Here, I'm using channel 6 on the Tempi to clock through in sequence the splices that I have on the Morphagene. Now, the Tempi is used for a couple other things, but it's you can see that it's internally clocked from the burst of the Wogglebug. So even though the pulses themselves on the Tempi are just normal metronomic clocks, because of the burst, you can see that it built in with the, I don't know if it's a ratchet or something, but it's sort of right. There's, and the pulse of the Wogglebug is sort of moderate, right? But if I were to slow it down or speed it up, you would hear a different effect. Let me try that. I'm just going to mess around now with the different clocking of the Wogglebug and listen to how the elements of the Morphagene change because of that. So what's going on there is the relationship between the Wogglebug into the Tempi. The Tempi needs a couple of beats to change, so there's always sort of a very organic shift in the pulse when you've got Tempi clocked by Wogglebug. It's actually one of the things I do in just about everything. So the other thing that I use Tempi for, and this is something I'm exploring more now is using Tempi into maths actually as a sequencer. And the idea behind that is that, you know, Tempi gives a gate of either 0 or 5 volts. So it's either 0 or it's 5. If you feed that into the math signals, you can attenuate each of the 4 channels, and then you can also add them. Right? So like I've got the pulse from channel 1, which you can see is really flickering away right now because I've got it all blasted up. Channel 1 comes in here, and then I can use the controls on the envelope of the maths to skew it. Okay. And then I've got channel 2, which is a little bit slower, still pretty fast the way that it's going here right now. Channel 2 of Tempi going to channel 2 of maths, which you can, again, attenuate, right? Or whatever, attenuate, add or subtract from that value. And then I've got the same thing on channel 4. For some reason I didn't use all the channels, but there you go. Then the maths output are various values based on this OR condition, which is the one I ended up deciding to use, or the sum value, or an inverse value. So I'd probably randomly use the OR value here, and then from there I use that to change the pitch of the Morphagene. Now it's pretty subtle on the Morphagene because of the nature of the nature of the sound, but you'll see what happens when I change it or when I take it out. And then what I'll do is I'll plug it into the control for the DPO and plug that into the mix so you can hear. In fact, I'll set that up now so that you'll be able to hear just the pitch and the impact on a sine wave. Okay. And I'm going to plug it in to the DPO and bring that up, and then you should be able to hear a more straightforward pitch effect. So that's endlessly fascinating, right? And let me just end by playing through the actual splices that are in the Morphagene kind of stepping through them, so you can hear a little bit of the raw material. All right, thanks for listening, and check out the rest of the videos on the channel. I'm going to be doing more with Morphagene in the next few weeks. Thanks.